Peterson climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Come
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Pure Sports. This is a round 3 show for the Wyndham Championship. I'll be your host tonight, Red Kachik, and I'm joined as always by Locks on Friday night to talk a little bit about who we can chase going into Saturday moving day. I thought there might be an intro. There's not. Obviously, there's a promo going on right now. JBC69 has joined Run Pure Sports, which is fantastic for the MME crowd or guys that are wanting to get better with multi-entry. And we have a promo now. So 23% off doesn't count for just your first month or your second month or third month. It is 23% off for life. So whatever the rate is, you get 23% off, and that is for the duration of your subscription as long as you keep it active. So you can use the code NFL23, and with NFL preseason in swing, obviously started on Thursday night with the Hall of Fame game, and Big T's a big fan of the preseason edge, so I'll be chasing some of that action. And NFL not starting too far away, about a month away. So definitely use the code if you haven't already, and we'll be in there talking golf throughout the fall swing as well. So you can play all the sports, one price. Pretty fantastic. So NFL 23, got that out of the way, Locks. How's everything going for you? We talked pre-show, so not the best, but how are you feeling after Denny decided to suck at 8,700?
Yeah, just a tough beat there. I mean, like we talked before the show, you would have picked Henley or McCarthy probably to win this thing, and it's going to be, Henley up there. So it kind of sucks. I mean, I went all in on Denny. I know cut maker Jeff went all in on Denny, but it is what it is. We pick Showdown winners. We make it back up, and we get at them that way. I still got some good teams that are just missing Denny, so I think I still got some decent cash I can make with the couple of 5 out of 6 teams I got, but just excited to pick some round 3 winners here. I think we're going to have some good picks here and build you another core that's going to kick some ass tomorrow.
Yeah, that's kind of the double-edged sword with chalk plays is like if they're going well, you don't feel like you're ever moving up, but when they fail, it sucks, but a lot of people fall back with you. So you're not losing on both ends. Obviously, you take the leverage spot, you're looking pretty good at this point. But if he was chalk and was winning, you feel like you're never moving up either. So it's a double-edged sword when it comes to chalk plays. Looks pretty good with Henley being the 10K chalk this week. So we'll see how that finishes out. But yeah, I'm taking a peek. So obviously talking about round 3, tee times are pretty staggered. They're from 7:40, it looks like, all the way till 1:40 in the afternoon. So a pretty wide discrepancy, but I don't see much on the weather front. It looks like it's about 3 or 4 miles per hour in the morning and is about 3 miles per hour later in the afternoon. Actually drops a little bit later in the afternoon. So besides temperature-wise, I don't think there's really an edge. From an AM, PM side, we tend to see the better scores in the AM with the softer conditions, but just from a weather, strictly discussing weather, I don't see anything in terms of wind for AM to PM tomorrow. Obviously, like what I did today was set a rule. I wanted at least 3 guys teeing off in the AM. So it was like 9 a.m. or earlier. And I think that's pretty safe. So you're not jamming yourself against the wall trying to get 6 guys that are teeing off early and maybe they're fringe plays. And 3, it seems pretty safe. 4 would be fine as well. But yeah, there's not any wind to discuss for tomorrow. So we can kind of dive in. We will start with the top of the leaderboard and kind of work our way down. So I don't know, Locks. There's a few ranges that are bigger than others. The 3 under and 2 under, the 2 under in particular, right before the cut line. But for this one, we can talk about the 10s to the 12s. So we have Russell Henley right now with a 1-shot lead over Billy Horschel at 11 under par. Ben On and Brendan Todd, Lucas Glover, and Svensson at 10 under par. So I'll kind of give my high-level thoughts on this range. Obviously, Russell Henley is a fantastic spin-up. There's not a ton of guys over 10K that are really in play or even made the cut, to be honest. So Russell Henley at 10-7, playing good. There's no placement points on Saturday, obviously, so it's not really a spot you have to spend up on, but I'm totally fine. If you have the salary left, you have you're trying to fit in an $8,800 guy, but you can get up to Russell Henley. Sure, pay up for Russell Henley. But I'll be honest, the guys that stand out the most to me is Brendan Todd and Lucas Glover. Todd is known to make some putts, which is fine, but I'm looking at just strictly approaches. And between Brendan Todd and Lucas Glover, they are by far outpacing the other guys in this range for approaches inside of 12 feet and in 18 feet. We have Brendan Todd. He's got 16 shots inside of 18 feet. He's made 11 of those putts. And I have 17 shots for Lucas Glover. He's made 10 of those putts. Lucas Glover's playing fantastic. I think Glover's actually live to win this event. As consistent as he's been playing and playing this week. That's pretty much it for me. I don't think this is a spot I'm going to chase Billy Horschel even at 7,600. It's fine. Like I'll wait to see on Sunday, and that might be a spot where you jam him in at 8K or something. But for me, I think Brendan Todd is fine, and Lucas Glover at 7,900 is fine. They seem to be playing the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in lockstep with you up here, Drew. Just looking at this, I'm not going to play Henley tomorrow. I'm just not going to get to him. Billy Ho, I'm just not chasing the 8 under round. He's playing great golf, don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of people are going to go there tomorrow, and I think I'm going to kind of stay away. Just for round 3, like you said, I'll probably hop back on possibly in round 4 when he jumps up a little bit. But.
Not to cut you off, but Billy Horschel's kind of on the Poston train as far as like not hitting it super close or having a ton of great looks, but making a good fair share of putts. And that's kind of his game anyways. So it's not like hating on him for making putts. We wanted guys to make putts. I wanted Denny McCarthy to make some putts. That didn't come to fruition. So nothing to hate on Billy Horschel. Like if that's his game, which it is typically, that's fine. But honestly, he's only hit 4 shots inside of 12 feet through the first 2 rounds. He's just making everything outside of 18 feet. I mean, honestly, he's made 7 putts inside of 30 feet, 7 putts inside of 24 feet. So like he's making some longer putts. When you go down into, talking about, Brendan Todd or Lucas Glover, they've made half of that inside of like 12 feet. So that's the reason why I hope people do chase. I hope people do chase Billy Horschel and he shoots, 1 under par.
Yeah, and I honestly think that could easily happen tomorrow, so I'm going to stay away. So for me, right away, I'm not going to play probably Henley or Horschel. I'm going to be off his fence, and he's putting out of his mind right now. So for me, up here, it's really the last 3 guys. I like Benny on tomorrow. He didn't hit the ball as well today, but the first round hit the ball amazing. Tee to green, putted pretty decent. I think he bounces back for us, so I'll play a little Benny on as well. But for me, it's those 3 guys, and I'm going to X out the other 3 up here.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. It never really hurts to fade the guys at the top of the leaderboard. I mean, there'll be a few exceptions with like elite guys. We talked about on the show yesterday with Snyder. If Scheffler's up there, you kind of keep chasing Scheffler, or it's Rahm, or even Rahm shoots 5 over par. You play Rahm in round 2. They're just exceptions to the rule, but like generally speaking, there's no harm in just fading the top of the board at this stage of the events. Please hit a like button on the video. I'm watching the comments, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them up. I see Jody in the chat had awesome. 17 of 25, 6 of 6s. Pretty good, honestly. You're way above the field, which is fantastic. I think the 6 of 6 was like just under 10%, depending on the contest. So you're definitely above the field with 17 of 25, which is fantastic. So yeah, please drop any questions that you have or comments. We'll keep it moving. So we'll hit the small range and then we'll talk about the 6s. So Ludwig Aberg is -8. I definitely had the jinx on him that off the tee would not carry him this week. And honestly, his irons haven't been great, but he's making a few putts and playing the par 5s decent. So he's hanging in there. We got JT Poston, who is a past Wyndham champion at 7 under par, along with Stefan Jaeger, Brandon Wu, and Troy Merritt. I mean, all these guys are playing pretty well, to be honest. Poston's actually picked up quite a bit of steam with his irons, which is, maybe arguably unusual for Poston, who plays decent, tee to green when he's playing well, but it's really the putter that keeps him going. He's actually losing strokes with the putter. So Poston's a really interesting play if you want to spend up for him at 9,900 tomorrow. Stefan Jaeger, I've kind of been out this week. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably just fade him here. And then Brandon Wu at 7,200 seems like a pretty good value. And I'm not really interested in Troy Merritt. his irons honestly have not been good. He's obviously losing strokes on approach. He's gaining strokes off the tee, which is not a great combo. And he has only gained, just to put it into perspective, he's only gained on 38% of his iron shots, which is not very good. So you would want at least to see, above 50%, gaining on more than half of your shots. So yeah, I think in this range, Poston is an interesting GPP play at 9,900. I assume people pay up for Russell Henley if they have the salary. Poston might get overlooked because that's a pretty crazy price for him. But his irons, his stats across the board for me look pretty good. And then Brandon Wu continues to play really consistent golf. He's 7 for 15 inside of 18 feet, 5 for 9 inside of 12 feet. So, looking at it both ways, a lot of opportunities, making some, but not all of them. So he's not just lighting it up on the greens. So yeah, I like Brandon Wu tomorrow. 7,200 seems like a pretty good price. Again, these guys are going off later, so you don't want to play too many, late PM. But definitely Brandon Wu is probably one of the best values as far as who's playing the best and cheap.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you there. With Wu, I have a few slightly different leans here. I do like Jaeger. I like them coming into the week. So I think I'm going to play a little bit in. Tee to green wise, just hitting the ball really well. Needs a few more putts to fall here and there, but we can see him go low. I mean, I thought the first day he was going to go super deep.
Yeah.
Until he hit that back 9, and the 2 doubles, I think, just kind of derailed him a little bit. Dang, did he look good to start that tournament. So I could see him catch lightning in a bottle again tomorrow, possibly. I don't mind a little bit of Jaeger bomb. Brandon Wu, I'll be on. JT Poston, I'll probably be pretty heavy on tomorrow. I could see him shoot a low round for us tomorrow, possibly like a 6, 7 under out of him. And then Aberg, I'll be on. I was on him coming into the week, and it's just a guy I don't really want to get off in this spot either. I'll be throwing in a little Aberg tomorrow as well. So it's probably those few guys for me. No love for Troy Merritt really here at all.
Yeah, Merritt's been doing it. It doesn't say he's been doing it on the greens, but he really has been doing it on the greens and a little bit on the par 5. So made a couple long bombs, missed some short ones, but yeah, no Merritt for me. Aberg just lights up the par 5s. He is tied for first in par 5 scoring this week at 5 under par. He's gone for 4 of 4 par 5s and 2, averaging 27 feet in proximity for his second shot. So he's averaging 27 feet for eagle on the par 5s, which is phenomenal. Pretty good. I mean, honestly, I break it down even further. He's averaging 325 off the tee on the par 5s, and he's hit every fairway. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what golf course you're playing. If you're hitting at 325 off the tee into the fairway on par 5s, you're probably looking pretty good. And then his irons on those holes specifically have been lights out. Inside 30 feet on average is pretty good. So, that's kind of my red flag, I guess, for Aberg, but no harm. I mean, honestly, Aberg is one of the few guys that's kind of a scary fade considering how good he's been all year, even in college. So yeah, I can't hate you on that one. We'll move down into the -6s. Not a huge range. I think we got 9 guys here. Most are value plays. So Eric Cole is the most expensive at 7,800, down to Robert Streb at 6,100. So most of these guys are in like the low 7s and high 6s. And I'll be honest, there's not anyone here that really checks a ton of boxes. Novak kind of does, but it seems like he's been steamed up all week. And I imagine that continues to get steamed up into tomorrow. And it's just kind of a leverage play, I guess. It may not even be a leverage play, but it seems like a spot where people are going to go play Novak after today, after Thursday. They're going to go into it on Saturday. So locks, unfortunately, I'm going to keep it simple. I don't think anyone in this range, you could probably talk me into playing Cole just because he has a low one in him anywhere he plays. I'm not super excited to play anybody here. Most of them are values anyways. They're not going to be at the top of your board for projections. But, I'm going to take the easy route here and say nobody I'm excited to play here at -6.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough. I don't hate you for that, but I do have a couple of guys here. Eric Cole is definitely my favorite. I love this guy. I've played him all year. He's just a dude, like you said. He can go low at any given point here. And tee to green wise, he's been hitting the ball really well lately. I mean, I could see easily a 7, 8 under round out of him as well. Even if he shoots a 5, 6, I'm still happy, to be honest with you, at that price tag. So I'm okay there. I love Eric Cole tomorrow. I actually think Andrew Novak's going to be one of my favorite plays too. just all around this whole tournament so far, hitting the ball great, honestly, from everything I'm seeing, and just not doing it with the putter. So I think he bounces back for us tomorrow. I mean, even round today, I think I could see an easy bounce back for a 4 or 500 round at least. So I'll be playing some Novak, but nobody else, I'm with you there. Nobody else in this range at all jumps off the charts for me. I'm probably crossing everyone off, but those two guys I will definitely be on.
Okay. Yeah, it's just no one really stands out, and a lot of it has to do with pricing. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Like sometimes, not even necessarily the range, but like if you look through guys at certain spots, and like if they're sub 7K, they really shouldn't be in play anyways, unless they're just playing completely lights out and it's on Sunday. So yeah, no one here really strikes a bell with me. We can talk about the 500 range. Again, about the same size. We got 10 guys here. A few bigger names. We got Sung J M here, Justin Thomas, Cam Davis, Peter Quest. I'll consider him a big name. It's interesting. Justin Thomas iron game looks really good.
Let's go.
Yeah. He's 4 for 11. So he's got 11 shots inside of 12 feet, which is, I won't say it's number one. Looks like it's number two. Number two on the board for the first two rounds. So 11 shots inside of 12 feet, pretty good. And he's playing the par fives at 300 par. So kind of lagging behind considering where JT is, but he's just not hitting any fairways on those par fives. He's only 25%, 25% for fairways on the par five. So that's kind of definitely holding him back a bit. But yeah, Justin Thomas is really interesting. I think Justin Thomas is a nice play tomorrow, 8,600. Again, for Showdown, low risk, high upside. 8,600, he's probably 2K too cheap in most events or most cases when you think about like the last two seasons, which is what I use for my projections. So JT at 8,600 is certainly in play. I got a couple others that are a little bit more cringy. I think Cam Davis is fine. He's not the cringy one, but the cringy ones are Charlie Hoffman and Matt Wallace. So Charlie Hoffman is lighting it up with the irons. He really has. I talked about him last night. That's just a guy to kind of keep an eye on. And he cannot find a fairway. Like the dude's got the snap hooks or something going on, and he's still crushing it with the iron. So it's kind of a regression play in a sense of if he can find a few more fairways and he keeps hitting it close, he's going to make some birdies. So I think Charlie Hoffman is a fun GPP play to targets for tomorrow. Again, it would be outside of a 3 max. If you're building 1 to 3 lineups, it would be outside of that. Outside of that player pool, but Charlie Hoffman's in consideration. Matt Wallace looks pretty good on paper, especially inside of like 24 and 18 feet. So again, I just view that as a spot where he can move it slightly closer, and there's more upside at the price. So he's 6,900 for tomorrow. But yeah, for me, it really boils down to JT as like the spin up. I'm not going to play Sung JM. Happy for him that he made the cut. I'm not, but yeah, great for him to make the cut. I faded him, so I'm hoping he shoots 100 tomorrow. Justin Thomas, I think Cam Davis is fine. And then for me, it's really going to be Charlie Hoffman as a sprinkle, a little bit of Matt Wallace. And I think that's it.
Okay. I don't mind that. I agree with a few. Actually, you might have honestly here, Drew, talked me into Charlie Hoffman. And I don't think I would ever say that.
I've been watching him for like the last month, man, and he keeps popping up every week, and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. He doesn't even finish inside like the top 40. And then I watched him every round last week. I watched him every round this week so far. And it's like his irons have been really good.
Yeah.
And I just, at some point, he's going to shoot 62 and win somebody some money, so might as well be me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you there. Why not take a stab at $6,900? I mean, you don't have much to lose. At that point, it's why not.
Said, it's outside of a 3 max. Like it's not going to make my main line. I'm not going to make my top 3 lineups. It's just going to be something where I did that today with Doc Redman. I played a handful of lineups in that $20, and I said, you know what, Redman looks like he could go low. I'll throw him in 1 of 5, and that's what I did. So that's kind of how I view Hoffman. I wish he was like 700 cheaper because he would still be the same ownership, and he would be cheaper. So he's just like. He pops off the page for me, and he has been for like a month and a half now.
Yeah, and I don't mind that because tee to green wise and approach, I mean, it's pretty freaking solid. He just gets a hot round with the putter, and like you said, a solid 8 under round could easily happen right away. So I definitely don't mind the call there. You talked me onto him. I wasn't going to play many people here. Obviously, JT looked a lot better today. Just continues to strike the ball, really. And people think he's so far off. It's like he missed the cut. He shot 2 under. It's like it's not.
We talked about that on the Tuesday show.
I know.
Like his results have been bad, but like when you kind of pull back the layers a little bit, like he really hasn't been terrible. Honestly, he's been like mediocre at best, or I guess at worst. Yeah. Like his ball strike has been good off the tee, hasn't been terrible. Approach hasn't been bad. It's just been like the total package has not come together. Yeah, early in the season it was putting. Lately it's been like, his wedges have been bad. And we saw that with McIlroy early in the season. And then he railed off 7 top 5. So exactly. Yeah, I don't think he's playing as bad as people have been touting him as like, God, he sucks. Hideki Matsuyama sucks. Justin Thomas has just been having some run bad.
Very true. Very true. But it's just like, if his ownership's going to stay low and his price is going to stay low, I'll keep jamming him in. I don't care. It's just a guy that he's going to catch lightning in a bottle too at some point. Look at Billy Horschel. He just snapped out of a funk.
And he needs it. He needs it, though. Yeah. Like, Justin Thomas is looking for these type of weeks where he makes the cut, he makes a run. He shoots 7 under par tomorrow. Has a chance to win. Like, gets that vibe back. Yeah. Going and hopefully gets into the playoffs. Like, that's what he's looking for. Yeah.
Yep. So, all the way through the playoffs. And it's just, that's why I say look out for him. And I'm going to keep jamming him every time. And I'm okay with it. So, for me, honestly here, Drew, just to wrap up the 500s, because I don't really have much to talk about in this range. It's just JT and now Charlie Hoffman for me. I don't really have any other interest here, in all honesty, other than maybe a sprinkle of Sung Jae, just because we haven't seen a super low Sung Jae Saturday round in a while.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you don't for another while, but okay. We'll see. I think he's scraped through this cut, and he's still kind of hanging on by a limb. Like JT's blowing him out of the water in almost every category that I look at. We'll see how it plays out, but it just Sungjae looks a little bit off. We can move down into the 4 under range. We have Adam Scott as the most expensive, and then it drops down into the mid 7s and high 6s for the rest of the range. We have Webb Simpson there at 7,400. You talked about him on Tuesday. Taylor Moore, who seems to be super popular this week every day. He's there at 7,500, and then some cheap guys. So the main guys that I looked at was Webb Simpson and Grayson Sigg. So kind of, semi-shocker there. Webb Simpson checks a lot of boxes for just, pure, traditional ball striking stats as far as fairways, driving distance isn't terrible, and then hitting a lot of greens. He's not flagging it down. Like inside of 12 feet, he only has 6 shots. But if you start going out a little bit further, he's got 13 inside of 18 feet. He's got 17 inside of 24 feet. Like he's playing pretty solid. 7,400 for a guy that loves the golf course. I don't hate it. He probably wouldn't be in my first lineup. He might make it in my third lineup, but that's probably it. Grayson Sigg, I like for the full week. I still think he's a good fit on the golf course. He's 7,100. He's negative on approach, but I don't really care. He's still positive inside of like 24 feet. So I think that's probably it. Most of these guys, I don't know if it looks the same for you, but most of these guys are negative on approach and barely positive off the tee outside of like Kuchar and Cameron Young, or Carson Young. So yeah, I think in this range, it's kind of going to be light for me. I have not been playing a lot of Adam Scott. I've just been anti-Adam Scott for like the last month. I think he's doing so much with the putter. People aren't coming to that realization. So I'm just going to keep fading Adam Scott. I think this is a light range, but Webb is kind of interesting. I think Webb might have a low one in him just to try to get some vibes back.
Yeah, I could see that too. As you mentioned, I liked him coming into the week. So I'll easily go back to him here. He's got 5 of the last 6 years of like top 6s, top 5s. Like it's I don't think people realize how good his course history is. He hasn't been playing great. I get that, but like sometimes people just need the course to kind of light a fire under their ass. Yeah, exactly, and you see it all the time. The guys play good at like Siwoo Kim. Play Siwoo Kim on Siwoo Kim courses. It's how it goes. They have their courses. You just feel comfortable. It's natural for your swing, and it's easier for you.
Sometimes it's time of year. I'm going to say that about Billy Horschel. It's like sometimes you don't do shit all year until we'll say the FedEx Cup playoffs, and somehow in August, Billy Horschel gets some weird mental thing where in the fall swing he plays great, and that's through the playoffs. We've seen that before with a couple guys. Bill Haas was that way when he won the FedEx Cup playoffs. So like, I could see this being just a spot on the schedule where Webb Simpson, late in the year, doesn't care, loves the place, feels comfortable, and just he finishes in the top 10. No big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Grayson Sigg, you liked coming into the week. I think you talked about him on Tuesday. So
seems like a good fit, man. He's not long off the tee. He's straight.
Yeah, it's an absolutely good fit. And then just one other guy I wanted to mention here, because not much interest, was Carson Young coming into the week. I liked him. Yeah, he's losing on approach, but I mean, the rest of the game looks good. I just hope he can turn the approach around tomorrow. I could see another low one out of him. Honestly, we've seen him go low multiple rounds before, so I could see it happening tomorrow, and he's remaining cheap. So for a guy with that talent that we can see go low, I'm okay having a little Carson Young as well. I wasn't sure on Matt Kuchar. I don't know if you have a lean. I'm kind of hemming and hawing on him, but I don't know what to do. So maybe you lean one way or the other?
Not really. Yeah, I mean, he's hitting a lot of fairways, but his irons haven't been close enough for me to kind of feel attracted to Matthew Kuchar. So yeah, there's a fine line between just viewing it as a projections game and saying like Kuchar at 6,900 is a good play, over the last year and a half or something like that, versus just over the last 2 days, he hasn't been hitting his irons great. So there's a fine line between saying, yeah, you play Kuchar, he's 6,900, he has a 66 in him or 65 in him. So I'm not going to say he doesn't. But yeah, just from the stats for the first 2 rounds, he doesn't strike me as a guy that's playing the best golf at the moment.
Okay.
I got a comment I'll pull up really quick. JT is really going to be 28% on. That's a conversation in just a second. We got Hardy. Is Hardy a trap? So I kind of skipped over Hardy. I thought he would be a good fit for this golf course, to be honest. He's 6,600 tomorrow. He's -5. Goes off at 11:25 a.m. His irons have been pretty bad, and he's kind of saving it with the putter a bit. So I'm not even sure if he's a trap or just he's not really in play. So I don't know if you have a. No, I mean, I hate to say he's not in play for someone that thinks he might be a trap, but I don't see him as either.
Yeah, I don't really see him as either as well. I don't know. Even the first round, he shot 500. I'm not chasing the 500 round. I don't think he does that again. He's probably going to shoot another even 1 under round tomorrow, and I'm not. That doesn't really get me excited. So he's made
a lot of putts. That's what I'm saying, man. I think he had a miscut written all over how he's striking it. He was 5 for 6 inside of 12 feet, and he's playing the par 5s at 2 under par. So kind of underperforming on the par 5s, but he's overperforming on the par 4s and par 3s. So that's how he got across the cut line. I don't think he's a trap. I don't even think he's in play. So he's not a trap because he's not in play. That's my opinion for him.
Agreed.
There's plenty of other good options. As far as like the JT ownership, I definitely think he's going to get higher owned. I think him just making the cut stands out. Luckily, his strokes gain numbers don't look like they jump off the page for everybody, which is good to see. So like when I talk about him, I'm looking at strictly proximity numbers, like 11 shots inside of 12 feet. Like that's fantastic. That's like I mentioned when we talked about him, that's second in the field right now through 2 rounds. So I'm not sure if we'll get to 28, but I could certainly see him at 18 or 20%. 28 seems high, especially going off later. It's not like an AM Cameron Young or something. So I will take the under on 28% and play JT. So hopefully that helps. And then Jim, great. Hopefully that helps. Not trying to shoot down any place. Obviously, any play could win anybody money on any given day. But yeah, for me, Hardy doesn't really check anything off for me. So all right, we can touch on the -3s. Nice little group here, and then we'll hit on the -2s really quick, which is a big final range. I'll be honest, the -3s have a nice group of guys to play. Guys that I like coming into the week, guys that are expensive and have higher projections because they've shown that they can outperform the field over the last year or two. So I'll start right with Siwoo Kim. I mean, I think Siwoo Kim's in play. I think Doug Gim is very much in play at 7,400. I love that. Smotherman has showed me some stuff this week. I like Smotherman at 7,100 to continue his good play. Thomas Dietrich's fine as well. I think he's a slightly negative on approach, but I look through like his key stats, everything is well above the field with proximity, which is kind of all I care about in Showdown, is just like how close are they hitting it relative to the field. But yeah, for me, I'll chase Siwoo Kim. I will play Doug Gim. He'll probably be in my core as we talk about here in just a second. I love Doug Gim. I liked him all week. I posted in Discord. This is like a perfect fit for him. And he just needs to make some putts. He honestly just needs to make some putt somewhere at some point in time over the next 2 days, preferably tomorrow. And then Austin Smotherman I like quite a bit. And then the last guy down there who was brought up in our Discord last night, I checked him out. He was okay. And after I look at him today, he's even more okay. Joel Damon, 6,700. I like Joel Damon a good bit tomorrow. He actually looks really solid. And I think this is another course where, you know, in the big picture of things, Joel Damon isn't a bomber. This is a golf course where it kind of fits his strength, where if he can hit as many fairways as the field or more, his irons are good enough to contend. And that's kind of what we've seen right now. So he's gained on 75% of his tee shots. He's gained on 63% of his approaches. So he's actually been playing very consistent off the tee and on approaches. So yeah, those three for me, Siwoo Kim, Doug Gim, and Joel Damon are definitely my favorites. But honestly, this is a pretty good range. Like you could probably talk me into playing Shane Lowry and Thomas Dietrich in GPPs. I mean, Jim Herman, Jeff talked about Jim Herman all week, but like this is probably one of my favorite ranges to target, and they go off semi early in the morning.
Frustrating with Jim Herman. I'll take the L though. He owned me with Jim Herman. It is what it is.
He just backdoors made cuts.
Yeah, it's all good. You know, I take L's. It's fine. I take chances. I like taking the big bets. It's fine. You win.
You never want to bet against the guy that can whistle without even trying to whistle. Just wind blows and just goes to town. But yeah, this is I mean, he's been good. But yeah, this is just a good range, which is weird to say where there's some guys up. It's just part of the tournament. Like, honestly, it's part of the tournament that the guys at the top of the leaderboard or closer to the top of the leaderboard have putted well through 2 rounds. And it'll be the same thing tomorrow. We just hope we can capitalize on some of these guys where statistically it looks like they've had more opportunities than others, and they've been failing to capitalize on those opportunities. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the day. Doug Gim makes 5 putts outside of 10 feet, and he shoots 62, 64. Like, give me Doug Gim. That's what I'm looking for. So it just happens to be one of my favorite ranges with upside.
I love it because as you were going through this and starting out, I was typing Doug Gim is him in my core. So
he is, dude. This is his place.
I have a feeling we got a show core already with one guy. So I love Doug Gim tomorrow. I think it's a nuke spot for him. Tee to green, just money right now. And
he's on, and for whatever it's worth, not that we're trying to really argue that Doug Gim's the best play, but honestly, he's also on the very front end of that -3 number, teeing off at 9:30. Like if you look at the back end, the guys are teeing off at 10:30. So he gets an hour advantage, which may or may not be a ton, but like the closer I see to like 8:30 in the morning for like the first tee time, closer to the first tee time, I love it. So yeah, Doug Gim gets that advantage in my opinion of going off at 9:30, and that is prime soft conditions, Doug Gim style, hits some fairways, hits a ton of shots inside of 15 feet, and he makes 5 of them on the front 9, makes the turn at 31, and then we're off to the races. That's the call.
Oh man, just calling it down to the nuts here. But it looks like Doug Gim.
It ain't a take unless it's a hot take. So yeah, Doug Gim making the turn at 31. Chalk it up right there.
Okay, all right, I love it. And he's gonna come in 30. So I guess we're going 61 tomorrow.
I love it. There we go.
Hey, it's gonna happen now. We spoke it into existence. He's one of my only guys down here. I don't like as many as you.
Okay.
In all honesty, Drew, Siwoo Kim will be probably my other favorite here. I'd say he's probably easily my second favorite down in this range. And then the only other guy I wanted to mention was Joel Damon, actually hitting the ball really well here. Yeah. Like you said, just a course that seems like it might fit him. So I could see him having a nuke round tomorrow as well. 3 under round today. I could see easily a 6 under round out of him tomorrow. So something I'm interested in there. It's those 3 guys for me and really nobody else that really pops off the charts for me here.
Yeah, that's the worst part about some of these guys where like ball strike, like this, pure off the tee and approach numbers look good and they're not doing anything on the greens. A lot of times that can continue. And that's the frustrating part about rostering some of these guys. That's the same with Hubbard did today. I think he shot 300 par or something like that. And gained a little bit on approach or a little bit putting, but off of Thursday, you would expect, to shoot 500 par and just couldn't get any momentum going. So yeah, we are going to wish Joel Damon into a 65, 66 and Doug Gibbon into a 62 or 61. And that's how we win all the money. So it sounds like we don't agree perfectly, but I think this is a good range to target. I do like a lot of these guys. It looks like a pretty solid range to target. So, all right, we can hit this last range right before the cut line at -2, and then we can talk about a show course. So there's really like 4 guys that stand out the most to me. Ches Reavie, exceptional with approaches right now. He's 5 for 12 inside of 12 feet, 6 for 16. He's at 16 shots inside of 18 feet. Again, like if I wanted to chalk it up on paper, Ches Reavie sets up well for this golf course. He's not the longest guy on tour by a very long margin. And his irons can be elite at times. So I think Ches Reavie, again, sets up for another good round today or for tomorrow. He goes off at 8:15 tomorrow morning. He's 7,100. I think it's a nice spot to fill a roster spot. Sam Ryder checks quite a few boxes. Again, inside of 18 feet, he's got 15 shots. So right up there with Ches Reavie. And the other 2 in this range that I really like is JJ Spaun. I talked about him on Tuesday. He hasn't had the best results at Wyndham, but it was a guy that I was willing to give a shot. And I don't mind playing him in Showdown. Again, this might just be the momentum he needed to make the cut and, rail it off and finish in the top 20 or something like that. So JJ Spaun. And then Harris English. Harris English was semi-chalky or at least talked up a little bit. I think Harris English is in play for tomorrow. So that's really the 4 guys that I really like that stand out the most. There's a few fringe plays in here, but I'm not going to go through every single one of them. But there are, again, it's a big range. They're going off early. I don't mind even setting a rule to force in 1 or 2 guys from this range and trying to get off to a hot start.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you on a bunch of those names. Definitely agree with you huge on Ches Reavie and Spaun down here, and also Sam Ryder for that matter. Those 3 guys they look really good to me, so I'll be on them tomorrow. I talked about Harris English on Tuesday. Cutmaker Jeff said he's a huge Harris English guy, but he was off him this week. I just had different feelings on him. Played really good today. A huge bounce back from the first round, so I'm okay going back there. Just struggling around the green, really. So I think he can continue to play well. Noren's a guy I like to come into the week. I'll probably play a little bit, not hitting the ball great, but we could easily see a bounce back round with irons and off the tee from him. And then Putnam's a guy. I was actually high on Putnam today, and I don't know. He didn't have it today, but I could easily see him bouncing back too. Tee to green wise, approach wise, I think his numbers look really good. So I'll be pretty heavy on Putnam, I think.
Yeah, Putnam's not bad.
I just wanted to mention Lipsky too as a guy that I don't know. He's a dude that can nuke as well. And he always seems like in these spots when he barely makes a cut, he just makes a huge jump up the leaderboard at random times. So I could see a low round out of Lipsky somehow.
Yeah, like I said, there's a few guys down here that are kind of on the fringe of like they're certainly in play. They don't really stand out as like nuke spots, but like Lipsky, we talked about him Tuesday. He's just a guy that goes low. He's almost like the more polished Kurt Kitayama of a guy that just happens to light it up from time to time and goes off on these binges of shooting like 64. So yeah, no harm there. I do have one more guy that I just was thinking about. I talked about him last night and looking through his numbers a bit more. He is on the verge of kind of falling over the fault line here and shooting a low one, and that's Trey Mullinax at 6,500. I think we talked about him last week on a show.
I talked about him this week, Tuesday.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we talked about him last week as well for Showdown, but again, I not necessarily like a fit you would think for this golf course, but as far as like across the board, he's hitting a lot of fairways, hitting a lot of greens. And the thing that stands out the most to me is he has hit 81% of his approaches inside of 30 feet 56% inside of 24 feet. It doesn't take very much to just start to bump that in about 6 feet. And now all of a sudden you got 50% of your approaches inside of 15 feet. So I think Molinex at 6,500 is actually a GPP target I'm going to actually target. He would be inside my top 3 lineups.
I love that.
Sure.
I'm glad you mentioned him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, and again, I talked about him last night. Obviously didn't work out to a degree of him shooting like 65 or something. But yeah, it always helps to see, round over round, especially if you talked about him on Tuesday, a guy that checks some boxes and you just kind of chase it a little bit. You just chase it just slightly for the next couple of days until it hits. And I think Molinex is right on the verge of getting something hot going. One
other guy I could see getting something hot going is Burns. Just a guy, I don't know. I feel I'm scared to fade Burns, honestly. I don't know what to do.
I think he's just I would just always argue that the top price guys are always just in play. It kind of doesn't matter what they shoot for that reason. Like if you had Sam Burns and maybe 10 other 9K guys that made the cut in a major, then you have an argument to fade Burns and play better players. But like in this scenario, there's never I could never fault anybody for playing the most upside plays. And anybody over 9K is obviously has the most upside. So he doesn't really jump off the page, but I have no issues. He would be one of my probably top 10 projected guys. He would just fall into some lineups and I would get lucky in a GPP because he would be in the right lineup with Ches Reavie, Doug Gim, and Trey Molinex or something. And it looks like I'm a genius. But I can't fault you for Sam Burns at all. He's just one of the best upside guys that can shoot, 65, 64 without even trying. So I like that call a good bit. I think that's probably it. Yeah, that's really just Molinex. The more I look at Molinex, it's like, dude is really close. So we can talk about a show core. I don't know if there's any other questions. Yes, definitely hit the like button. Thank you, Bruce. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We got a nice viewership here tonight. If you have any last-minute questions, feel free to drop them in. Let's see. Ryder was -4 with 3 holes to go. He went bogey on 16, 17, blew his birdie putt, 5 feet past on 18. Made the comebacker to make the cut. Yeah, I think Ryder's in play for tomorrow. His stats look pretty good.
Absolutely.
And yes, Eric, unfortunately, Hideki did not make the cut. I think he missed it by 1 or 2. I think. We go. I had it up. I don't see him. I'm sorry. He didn't miss it by 1 or 2. He missed it by 6. I think he took like a triple or an 8 on 1 hole earlier today. So yeah, Hideki missed the cut, not by 1 or 2. Sorry.
I had a rough scene. I had him for over 4.5 birdies on Prize Picks. Ouch.
He did that yesterday.
I should have went bogeys.
Almost, yeah, definitely. We looked at it last night for like the top of the leaderboard because Snyder brought up I think it was Poston had like 6 birdies and an eagle. And I think everybody in the top 10 had at least 7 or 8 birdies. Like they all pretty much lit it up and had a bogey here and there. So, all right. Yeah. If you have any other questions, drop them in there. Let's talk about a show course. So what we've been doing, we did this last night. I think we did it last week is we do 2 kind of we agree on and then 2 of our own tastes or flavors. So I think the first one is probably Doug Gim, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, so we'll do Doug Gim as our first guy in.
I would say our second one might have been Siwoo, maybe.
Siwoo?
Unless you weren't as high on him. Or JT.
I mean, I think JT's the guy. I think JT would be the guy we would go together on.
Yeah.
Siwoo is like on the verge, but I don't know if I would feel great about him.
Justin Thomas, Justin Thomas and Gim.
Okay, so Doug Gim, JT is our first 2. Leaves a ton of salary. So I mean, you don't even have to use up the salary. If you have a guy, you can throw him out there. I'll try to find a nice one that I'm really excited to play for tomorrow. It'll be down the board going off early. Let's see here.
I want to pick a good one.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, our reputation rides on this.
I know.
I'll tell you what. I'll go. You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I say I say you use the salary, and this might piss you off because it's probably taking the guy that you would say anyways. You use the salary, you play JT Poston tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy I would have said.
That's all right. We can do 3 overlaps. We can do 4 overlaps.
I like it. I love it because
I think the more overlap, the better. I think people feel a little bit more conviction when we have 4 overlapping.
Yeah, I love it because I'm high on JT Poston tomorrow,
Yeah,
so I'm totally fine with that.
We have 3. We have 3 overlaps.
What does that leave? How much does that leave remaining? It's got to leave a decent amount.
I'll tell you right now. We got JT Poston, Justin Thomas, and Doug Gim at 70, still 72, 74. That leaves 8,000 average with 3 spots left.
That's easy. It is too easy. I think I'm gonna go.
Like looking through all these ranges, you could pretty much name anyone, and I would say it would work.
I honestly think I'm gonna go Eric Cole tomorrow.
I'm cool with that. Yeah. I'm good with Eric Cole. He's got the low ones in him. He seems like the guy that gets hot.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So that's the core. We got JT Poston. I'll answer this question from Eric A in just a second. JT Poston, JT Thomas, Justin Thomas, and Doug Gim and Eric Cole at 7,800. That leaves 8,100 remaining. You could basically play a 9K player and a 7K player. So if you want to play, just throwing this out there, Siwoo Kim, you could play a low 7K guy. You could play a 6K guy. You could probably get up to Russell Henley or close to Russell Henley. So plenty of flexibility there to pivot, whatever you would like. Again, it's JT Poston, JT Thomas, Doug Gim, Eric Cole. Eric A says, do you pay attention to how guys perform in the third round? Absolutely. Yeah, yep. Absolutely. I'll pay attention to how they fare. Like it helps quite a bit doing the shows on Thursday and Friday. But if you watch the event on Thursday, Friday, you kind of know who's trending in the right direction and know if it's just a flash in the pan or not. But yeah, on third round, you get a good idea of who's actually playing the most consistent. Everyone's watched Russell Henley. So if Russell Henley plays pretty solid tomorrow, you know he's in good shape for Sunday. So yeah, it absolutely helps to see how people play. If they had a blow-up hole somewhere, helps quite a bit for fourth round, if that's what you're referring to, which I assume it does. I think that does it, Locks. Any final thoughts? And then I'll try to do the old spiel. Hopefully I can remember it.
No, you knock out that spiel. I think we pretty much nailed it on the head here. So expecting to see a lot of RPS up top tomorrow. Let's knock another one down. Huge guy joining us, JBC. So, yeah, excited, man. Excited.
Yeah, a lot of cool things going, especially with NFL right around the corner. Obviously, huge contests and even preseason, which, like I said, Big T loves. So if Big T loves it, I have to get aboard a little bit of preseason. So, yeah, you can use the promo code NFL23, 23% off if you haven't already subscribed. If you are in the chat or you're watching the video, please hit the like button. You can also hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified. Again, this show is free. We have other premium shows during the week for all sports. So it always helps the show. Hit the like button. You can also subscribe and find the premium content. So I think that does it. Best of luck. I think we covered everything pretty well. We should be in good shape for tomorrow. Hammer some AM guys. Don't get too crazy and play the winners. And we should see you guys at the top of the leaderboards tomorrow. Best of luck in round 3. And we'll see you back here tomorrow night for round 4. See ya.